So, who's next? Rebecca. Rebecca should be here any second. Come on in.
Hey, John.
Rebecca, how are you?
Ay, ay, ay. Good.
Good. Welcome back.
Good. It's been quite the journey, I have to tell you.
Has it really?
Ay, ay, ay.
I imagine that.
I brought my papers with me.
Oh, good.
We're going to talk about it, right?
Yeah. That's.
Good.
Remember, we had said that we were going to spend today picking up where we left off on talking about your PTSD diagnosis. PTSD stands for
Post-traumatic stress syndrome.
Post-traumatic stress
disorder.
That's right,
yes.
Disorder. Yeah. So, and we're going to continue talking about, I think we left off on avoidance. So we'll talk a little bit more about avoidance.
Yeah.
And then we'll talk about patterns of behavior, the ways that you're sort of responding when you have some PTSD, when you express some symptoms, and then we'll talk about some negative reactions today.
Good, because let me tell you, I challenged myself a little bit with the avoidance stuff.
You did?
Because I don't know why I thought I wanted to play therapist. You know, I got all this information, and then I think I'm a therapist, and then I'm like, I'm so happy I'm seeing you today.
I'm so excited. I'm excited to hear about that, because actually putting it into play and taking responsibility like we talked about is such an important step, you know. You can, what's that saying go? You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them to drink. Right. So a lot of times when people come to therapy, when they seek some assistance, they get a lot of information, but then they say, oh, that didn't work for me. Therapy didn't work for me. When in reality, it's about ownership and of what you learn and incorporating that. I can hand you all the information that you want, but if you don't put it into play, Nothing. And I'm so happy that you're so dedicated to this and that you really are.
I want to get better.
Oh, that's so good.
I want to get better, you know, so even though...
Can I just say something?
Yeah.
You're already better.
Think so?
So I don't think it's about being better than you are. I think you're fantastic. I think it's about moving forward. So maybe we can reframe that a little bit. I want to move forward. PTSD a lot of times is about being stuck, like we talked about. So maybe we can say, I want to move forward instead of I want to be better. Because you're not sick, you're stuck. And there's a difference.
Yeah, but it's hard to help some people understand, because I feel like I'm getting there. I'm starting to read this more than all. Remember all that stuff I brought the other day?
Yeah. Did you put that in the recycling bin?
I did.
Good for you.
Honestly, I did.
Good.
I didn't even want to look at it again, because sometimes I kept looking back on my little notes, because the cheat sheet was like really good for me.
Yeah.
Very to the point. But then it's like, you know, struggling with my mom with some stuff. But we'll talk about that a little bit later, because I want to talk to you about that later on. But
well, you had told me a little bit in the beginning, as you know, during your intake and stuff, that you were having some trouble with mom because you're normally so close. She lives with you, right?
Yeah.
So, and your mom, you told me, was kind of dependent on you to get a lot of stuff done.
Yeah.
And with what happened at the bodega and with Maria, I mean, it's been hard for you to go back, so I have to imagine that has some...
Yeah, and she's just like, stop gonna just snap out of it. And she doesn't realize, like, you know, she's so mad at me because, you know, we Spanish. They want me to do the 40 days and 40 nights of doing the rosary, this and that. And I'm like, I don't even want to see Doña Maria's husband. You know, like, I feel so bad because I was there, like, what if he blames me?
Yeah.
What if he thinks what I couldn't have done? You know, like, it's just too much.
Yeah.
So she doesn't get it. And then she needs me to do everything because she says she don't speak English. Everywhere she goes, I speak Spanish. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, you just gotta give me time. So she thinks I'm crazy. She told me she thinks I'm going crazy and then I need Jesus.
Well, Rebecca, hopefully, remember our goal was for you to have a way to not only understand this and take ownership of it yourself, but to use this to help explain it to other people.
No, I know, John. It's just that, you know something, like I come here and I meet with you and I feel like I'm pretty smart, you know, and a lot of the stuff that you give me, I use and it helps me. It's just hard when you go into a home and they view therapy as negative. They view everything like, ay, mija, like you could just snap out of it. Yeah. Because it's more than that. You know, like I talked to one of my associates at my job. Yeah. I told them that I was struggling. Very nice lady. She, you know, but like, I could go on and on. Let me tell you what happened to me.
Before that, I don't want to lose the momentum of what you're telling me. I think what you're telling me is so important. Is it okay for us to chat for a quick second before you tell me? Okay. So you're telling me, it sounds like you're telling me, I don't want to tell you, but it sounds like you're telling me that there's a little bit of cultural stuff going on there. Like, you've come to me and you've said, you know what, John, I want to move forward in my life. I want to be able to leave behind what happened to me and find some way to reclaim myself.
Yeah, because remember I told you, I love Jesus.
Yeah.
But it ain't working for me. It works for my mom. But I don't know how much I gotta pray. My knees hurt. It's not fixing me being scared.
So, I don't want to be insensitive to your culture, but I know that you understand how important working through some of this is. Would it be helpful to talk to mom maybe? Do you think if we brought her in, had her ask some questions, or would that be...
You know, I'm like this because I would like my mom to come in just to not make her feel like she has to change her beliefs, you know? Because I feel like every time I talk to her, I know, right? But I don't know if I'm explaining it to her that way, that she's taking it that way just because I'm her daughter. I just want her to understand how that impacted me.
Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't we finish this, and then let's bookmark it as a possible future sort of goal or possible future objective. Like, if we work through this and you feel comfortable explaining that, and then you try to talk to mom, maybe using this as a resource, and mom's still not receptive, or you think that mom might have a few questions that maybe I can answer for her.
I just feel like, to be honest with you, we see each other every week since this happened, you know? I would like my next, you know, we see each other same day, same time. I just would like you to know, like you said, hopefully she'll just come with me that visit. Because it's just impacting me so much. Because she wants me to do so much right there. And it's not only right there. It's like, so be like, alright, then let's go to the other supermarket. She's just not getting it. Like, I'm not even there yet. Like, I'm so happy.
I'm happy you said that.
Like, you know, and I'm happy I could do online shopping. I could, you know, you could even do...
Peapod?
Sure. Yeah. And they come to you. And I like that, but then I don't, because I feel like I'm not helping myself.
And where do you think that...
Avoidance.
Of course.
And I don't want to do that.
Nice job in pulling that out.
So I'm just trying, like, little steps. Like, I need to eat.
Yeah.
And, you know, I lost all that weight. I don't want to be gaining it all back.
You're right.
So I'm trying to be mindful, but since she's not so supportive, I don't need her to change her ways. I just want you to help me. Hopefully if she comes, and if she doesn't, teach me ways to help her understand. I just need her to support me, even if it's something different than what she wants. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm so happy that you said what you said about you're not there yet, because you're at that point now, though, where you're seeing a little bit of your sense of hope is growing. You're making a little bit of progress, and that's a great feeling. It must be a huge relief for you, but you're still stuck in that. I still have some more work to do. So what do you say? We get back to work.
Yeah.
Do we need to do some breath centering? I know we've started off sessions the past couple of times, but
all right, let's do a little bit. Just
okay.
A real quick one. We don't have to do the 5 breaths today, but something.
You want to do 3?
Yeah, let's try the 3.
Remember, we talked about one hand on the chest, getting nice and comfortable. One hand on the belly, breathing in through the nose, really filling that belly with all the air that we can, and letting it out through our mouth nice and slow. I'll join with you. Ready? Let's do 3. Big breaths, as big as you can. Really feeling that belly, bringing that belly out, and then out through the mouth. 2 more, in through the nose, into the belly. Pretend your belly is a tire. Air out. Fill that belly with all the air you can in. And then out nice and big. We've exchanged all the air in our body. We've given ourselves some nice cleansing breaths. How you feeling?
Good. My mother wakes me up.
Good.
Jesus, I need this.
So.
Where was this when I was 16, right?
Probably, I might have needed some too, who knows, but look how far we've come. All right, so we talked about, we got on this sheet that we got through, we got through diagnosis, and we talked about PTSD, and I want to start by checking back in on those unfamiliar or big words. Your words you had in there were what, tell me?
Flashbacks. and avoid.
Yeah. So can you tell me really quickly why those words stand out to you? Why does flashback belong in the important word category?
Because I feel like it's been taking over my life. Stupid things too, like not like really stupid things. A chip. Remember I talked to you about the chips?
Yeah, the Funyuns you said.
Yeah, and it's just like, how do you live without hearing that noise or that smell? So it's like that scares me too, because I'm like, oh my god, if somebody's gonna open chips, can I not be around people? Like I don't want to freak out. I don't want to freak people out. So that's why it stands out to me.
And then what about avoid?
Avoid is a challenge for me because I want to get better. I'm scared. And then when I think about all these things, when I'm with you, it's great. And when I'm not with you, I get nervous because I second doubt myself because I don't have the same support home. You know, so it's like I'm trying to breathe. I'm trying to this. And sometimes my mom jokes about it with me, you know, and I'm like, I don't want to disrespect my mom. So it's just hard because I want to be better. I don't want to, you know, I'm bubbly and I love to be out and I love to do things. And
so let me ask you the question a different way. Let me try to be a little more specific with you. That's there's a lot of avoidance going on in general about. I'm hearing you struggling to find the right way to directly address it with mom. So there's some avoidance going on there. But let's talk a little bit more about avoidance and what happened to you. You were in that store and Maria got shot and unfortunately she passed and you saw all of that. And we talked in the past about you not wanting to go into the store, not even looking. You told me last time you were looking away as you're going near that store, having a hard time being in the area. How is avoidance here tying into what you're doing around the store? Tell me.
Well, look, for an example. So you know the last time I saw you, I had to go change the tires in my car. I keep saying I'm going to change them. And I've been saying I need to, not because I didn't have the money. I have the money. But it's next to Doña Maria's store. You know, it's actually like right like adjacent to it, you know.
So would you say it's like the next building over, or is it down the street?
No, it's like almost like across the street, but like right to the side almost.
Okay,
you know?
So it's close.
Real close. So
now, is that the only place in?
That's not the only place, but you know I love routine, and I trust this guy. I feel like every time I go there, I get what I pay for. You know what I mean? So I really like them. So I like to keep going. So I've been avoiding. He's called me like, when are you gonna fix your tires? They're here. We ordered them. I'm like, I'm gonna do it. So I was thinking about what we were reading, what we were talking about. I'm like, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
I go downstairs. I go into that garage, open the thing, and I know before I even go up, I'm looking up. I'm like, oh, if I go really quickly.
Like
make
into,
a right,
pull into the place, you mean?
Yeah, make a right out of the parking lot. Right there is Doña Maria's, but right there is Dick's Tire Shop. So I'm like...
So as you were driving from your house, it sounds like you didn't really have a problem getting in your car, didn't have a problem driving, even though you knew you were driving there. You were being so brave. You were feeling good enough to go.
My nerves, like, I just started like with the... like, oh my god, like, and then I'm like, and then I told myself, why are you saying, oh my god?
Yeah, you weren't going to the bodega, you were going to the tire shop.
I'm going to the store, you know, to get back to the tire, to Dick's, you know?
Sure.
So, relax, girl, relax. I look in the mirror, you know the thing?
Yep.
And I'm like, relax, what's the matter with you?
So, you're in the car, and you've managed some of that initial anxiety. That's awesome. That's awesome, because before, I don't think you would have made it even... you know, into the car thinking that you had to go somewhere nearby, but you made it that far. Good for you. So talk to me. You're now at the end of your street and you're turning down the way and you're coming off the exit and you're turning onto the main road and you're on that main road where you have to get right to where Maria's store was and right to where the tire shop is. Talk me through that. Help me understand.
When I finally get my nerves, my heart is bumping, I'm beating so fast, and I'm like, oh my god. Like, I was literally like this, driving like this, and I didn't want to go like that. I was so scared. But
did you go like that?
A little bit I did, because I feel like I was trying to, I wasn't looking directly, but I could see my peripheral vision, like,
And how did you feel when you looked?
I started to cry.
Did you? And so what happened next? Tell me.
I turned around.
Turned around to go home or turned into the tire shop?
I turned around the whole corner, the whole opposite way. So like, you know how the store is right there and then the tire shop is there?
Yep.
I saw her shop and, you know, the bodega on the peripheral, so I just went, I did like a U-turn, and then I stopped in that corner, and I was crying a little bit. I'm like, this is so fucking crazy. I'm sorry for cursing.
That's okay.
This is so fucking crazy. I didn't want to look at it. I didn't even want to look at it in my mirror. I moved my mirror down, and I said, but you are not going to go upstairs. You're going to be all right. We're going to go change our tires.
Let me stop you right there. I want you to close your eyes for me. And I want you to do really quickly. I want you to tell me 2 things you can feel and 2 things you can hear in this session, right here, right now.
I can feel my face, and I can feel the softness of this the fabric.
Okay. And 2 things you can smell?
I can smell the rain outside.
Because the window's open a little bit.
And then I can smell the coffee.
The coffee? You know I love my coffee. So you know if you smell that coffee with that hazelnut creamer in it, you must be in session, right?
Yeah.
All right. And the reason that I had you stop and do that wasn't to interrupt your story, but I felt like you might have been panicking a little bit. Your body language was telling me that you were getting a little upset. I thought it was important to bring you back. Open your eyes. Hi. Okay. So how you feeling? You good enough to continue? Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. So there you are. And you got past your crying, and you got past the corner there. Here's the big question. Did you make it to the tire shop?
I did.
Good for you. Good.
I did.
Good.
I went the long way, but I told myself.
But you made it.
Yeah, because I felt like this was my crossroad. I said, I'm not ready to really pass Maria's store. But I said, I could go upstairs and cry, and then for even worse, because you're my mom, or I could just like bite the bullet, for lack of better words, and just go. I said, and I told myself, just drive to the tire shop. If you can't go in, then you don't go in. But just try. So I tried. So I get there right away, pulled into the parking lot, and people's outside like, hey, where are they?
He must have been happy to see you.
So I'm like trying to wipe my face. He doesn't ask me any questions.
Yeah.
And he says, you okay? I said, I'm okay. It was just a sad song. I'm like, I'm like lying.
That's okay. It's about protecting
yourself.
yourself.
He took the keys.
Yeah.
He said, hey, go inside. There's the ice cream. There's little snacks that we have there. No problem. I said, okay. He says, won't be more than 30 minutes. So I went inside, and then I put the timer on my phone, and I said, no, just 30 minutes. You could do it.
And you made it.
And I went to the bathroom twice to talk to myself in the mirror. Did I give myself more of the confidence that we talked about, and just like, okay, breathing through things. You okay? You're safe. You okay? And then I did it.
Good for you. You know, I'm going to tell you something that's going to give you a sneak peek as to what we're going to start doing in a little bit. So this paper right now, remember I told you how this was about taking ownership of something and recognizing how it affected you? Pretty soon, you and I are going to start working on ways to distance yourself a little bit. So that instead of the PTSD that I have, my PTSD, we're going to start calling it the PTSD. We're going to begin to separate you from that a little bit. In those moments, right, in that moment that you were able to drive past and get all the way to the tire shop, you must have felt pretty good, right?
I did.
And you
Nervous,
said you said it was your crossroads, but you needed to do it, right? If PTSD was an actual person, if there were a PTSD sitting in the passenger seat right at that moment when you made that decision and you drove past there to the tire shop, what would you say?
I would have punched it in the face.
Yeah? What would you have said? Tell me.
You're not controlling me no more.
Good for you, Rebecca. Good for you. I'm not controlling you. You made a decision to take back charge of your life. Good for you.
Because it's like a bully.
Absolutely. And what do we do with bullies? We disempower them, right?
Yeah.
You're amazing. Should we continue?
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing all of that with me, by the way. Okay, so we left off on avoidance. And we talked about, well, why don't you tell me what the last thing we talked about was?
Well, that I'm avoiding things.
Yeah.
And that I'm struggling with doing the very simple things that I have found joy in doing. But now, it's like I gave it a new name. What used to be joyful isn't anymore. So I'm just tapping away from it because I don't want to bring back things that put me in this scary place.
So tell me some of the things that you tend to do, because remember when we talked about that big paper, remember I gave you the DSM one? Do you have that? Let's look at it.
You know, I put it on my refrigerator.
And it says persistent avoidance. Persistent means ongoing, right?
Yep.
Ongoing avoidance of stimuli associated with the traumatic events, beginning after the events occurred, as evidenced by one or both of the following. Avoidance of or efforts to avoid distressing memories, thoughts or feelings about or closely associated with the events. So thinking about it, thinking about memories associated with it, thinking about how you felt and trying to not feel like that. And avoidance or efforts to avoid external reminders such as people, places, or conversations that arouse distressing memories, thoughts, or feelings. So you're trying to avoid, people with PTSD try to avoid the way that they feel, and they try to avoid things that remind them. In your case, that would be what? Chips.
Sometimes the police sirens.
Sometimes the police sirens.
If I hear a noise that resembles a bullet, even a toy gun, I don't even want to see anything with guns on it. It scares me nervous.
Yeah. You said you didn't watch the news anymore. And what about feelings? What feelings do you think you're trying to avoid?
I'm trying to avoid being scared, but I'm being more scared by avoiding it. Does that make sense?
It does. It does.
So I'm like, I don't get myself. I'm just.
So I think.
Even owning it, I don't know. It's so weird. It's so weird.
Yeah, but I think you're making some great steps. I've seen you today take ownership. You told PTSD, you don't own me anymore.
No.
I'm not your slave. I'm not going to do your bidding. I'm going to beat you. I'm going to put you in your place, and I'm going to move on with my life. Boy, bye. You know what I mean? Good. All right, so section D. If we look at this clinical paper, right? Section D talks about the behaviors that people who have PTSD. Remember, this is written to sort of apply to everybody. Like when you looked up all those folders of information, that's all the different ways. So D talks about negative alterations in cognitions and mood associated with the traumatic events. Meaning, negative alterations, bad changes. Ways that you change that aren't healthy, right? Such as the inability to remember an important aspect. So you might be a little forgetful if someone says, well, what happened when you were there? I don't know, my brain's fuzzy, I don't remember. Persistent and exaggerated negative beliefs or expectations about yourself and the world. So you might say, there's something wrong with me. I'm just like, I wasn't supposed to survive. I'm a
that
terrible
question,
person.
like, why am I alive and not Maria?
Yeah.
Like, she was giving them everything that they wanted. John, she didn't even fight. Here I am hiding. They didn't do anything to me. And she gave them, they said, give me the money. She did. They said, give her the cigarettes. She said, take whatever you want. And they still shot her. She didn't even fight them. So it's like, I did nothing, and nothing happened to me.
So, what might be a negative belief you have about yourself in that moment?
That I'm not good to be around. Because I'm going to survive, but you won't. Sometimes I feel like, why did I survive?
Do you feel guilty about it?
Sometimes I feel guilty. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't want to kill myself. I don't want to hurt myself. I love myself.
Yeah, no, I don't believe you're...
But sometimes I feel like, why am I alive? Maybe I should have died.
Do you know that that's called survivor's guilt? People who survive very tragic things often wonder why. And instead of seeing it as a positive, they're lucky that something didn't happen to them. They often feel so empathetic and so badly for the people that didn't survive that it causes some problem. So it's all part of this. You're seeing it, what you're feeling, how you're reacting. It's all connected to this. And I really feel like you're beginning to understand how.
Even though I also feel like, I don't know, like, my mom, you know, she keeps pushing me to like see these people, but it's like, I really don't want to see them because what if they tell me that, like,
you're not ready? No. And
because
we gotta get
I survived and she didn't.
And so, persistent, distorted cognitions about the cause or consequences of the traumatic event that lead the individual to blame himself or others. Number 3 says it right there. Thoughts, because you know that cognitions means thoughts, right? We've talked about that. Cognitions that lead you to blame yourself. You're blaming yourself, right? How do you think you're blaming yourself? You've told me multiple times, but I think it's important for you just to tell me again.
Because I didn't do anything. I hid. I mean, she's older than me. You know, she was, I don't know, maybe even pushing 70, you know, and it's like, I should have did something. I should have, I don't know, I feel like, you know, you see somebody old crossing the street and you help them cross the street.
Correct.
I was just like, whoop, and like I hid.
Number 4, why don't you read number 4? I'm doing a lot of, why don't you read number 4? I'm doing a lot of talking here.
Persistent negative emotional state. Fear, that's me. Horror. Anger. I am angry. I'm angry.
Why are you angry, Rebecca? Let it out.
Sometimes I'm angry because I'm like, why did he kill her and why didn't he kill me? Why her? Why even me? You know what I mean?
Why anybody?
Why that store? Why even do those things when she was giving you what you want? Why, you know, like, it's just horrible. Horrible. Guilty, you already know. You know, a part of me feels ashamed, and I'm going to be honest with you because you know the way I'm raised. You know, your parents take care of you, and then as you get older, you take care of them. Now, Doña Maria wasn't my mother, but she's a motherly figure. And it's like, I couldn't protect her. I'm embarrassed that instead of trying to protect her, or maybe scaring the guy and pushing him out, right? No, what did I do? I hid. How am I supposed to confront that with her family? What did you do when all this was happening, hiding with the chips? That's what I'm gonna say to them?
No, you're not. You're gonna say, I protected myself, and I'm here today to talk to you about it, right? And I'm coping, and I'm growing. There's a lot of responsibility. You're putting a lot of responsibility on yourself, so we'll talk some more and try to help you find some ways to take some of that burden off you. But you see how it's all connected to what's happening to you?
True.
Yeah. 5 says diminished interest or participation in significant activities. That's what you said. Feelings of detachment or estrangement. Do you know what the word estrangement means?
No.
So detachment is like you just don't want to be around anybody. Estrangement means, have you ever had, maybe when you were in college, or maybe when you were in high school, you had a friend you thought was going to be your friend for life, and you were like ride or die, you were right there, right? But now maybe you're just like Facebook friends, and you don't see that whole person, you know, as often, or like your paths kind of went a different way. That's called estrangement. The key word in there being strange. You're not as close as you used to be. Sometimes when parents and children aren't exactly in a healthy relationship, the children might estrange themselves. Do you see what I mean?
I got it.
And then inability to express positive emotions. You're telling me all of these things. You have a lot of love, you have a lot of pride, you have a lot of self-respect, you have a lot of positivity in your life, but what are you telling me you're having a hard time doing? Coping. Living.
With you know, like, this is not who I am. Avoiding everyone. Just.
How are you feeling about yourself lately?
I feel bad because I hate to feel weak. I hate to feel like I'm stuck.
So tell me, take a few minutes, and on section D, on your organizer, need a pen?
Yeah, I think my pencil. Oh, I got it.
Okay. Why don't you write down just a few things. You can do keywords, things that are going to help you recall about things that you're doing. We talked about so much, and for you to transcribe all of that would be a lot. Why don't you choose the few most important things you think that stick out the most, and put them on that paper.
Okay. So like the things that I'm doing.
We talked about, so you have these negative beliefs, and we talked about the way that you feel that people are blaming you. So any of the things that we talked about. You can always too, when you get home, expand on that. You can add more to your list, because you're allowed to sort of take the time to process. But it's important that you have something there so you have somewhere to start.
You know, I like that's big for me is like, I hate that I've become a victim. That's hard. I never thought I would put that in a sentence. You know, hi, I'm Rebecca, victim.
But what does being a victim mean? How does one become a victim?
Not by choice.
No. What happens?
Happened by mistake.
Yeah, something happens to them. Like we talked about in the last session. You don't own this. You don't own this terrible, horrible thing that happened to Maria. You don't own this. This is not your fault. You did not do this. You would just happen to be in the place that something terrible happened. And now we're going to help you become unstuck. Say again?
The wrong place at the wrong time.
Exactly. And I'm sorry that you were. I'm sorry. I really am. I wish there were a way I could take that away from you and change that. I wish I could wave a magic wand for you, but I can't. But I'm here to help you work through that. Remember, that's what we're doing here. We're helping you find the other side of this and to walk through the fire of the terrible, terrible life-changing thing that happened to you, and to get you through to the other side. So what did you write down on your paper?
Well, I wrote the most, just thinking bad about myself, not looking as a protector, as someone who always helps others. Like almost like a failure, you know?
Do you need a break?
No.
No? You're good?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good. I mean, it's what it is. It's sad.
I hear you.
But this is who I need to process my stuff with, because I can't unload my shit with my mouth.
You're right. Hopefully by the end of this, maybe you can.
No.
Should we move on?
Yeah.
Okay. So negative reactions. We remember our paper said. You want to look on your paper with me?
Yeah.
So it says marked alterations. So noticeable changes and in arousal and reactivity. The way that you get excited about something, like get amped up, and the way that you react to things connected to that event.
I was looking at this section at my house, and I think what really stuck out to me was two things.
Tell me.
Just sleeping, is hard.
Oh yeah, number
Sleeping
6.
is hard for me.
Yeah.
But I've become I feel like even more overprotective. But to an extreme, we went to Meredith with my sister. We did all these things there, and then all the boys, they were playing cops and robbers, and
that must have been extra hard for you.
I walked away a few times crying, and I came back, and then I saw my little nephew, and they started doing to tie his arms up. I felt so bad because I yelled at those kids so bad, and I just took my little nephew and was rocking him because I felt like I needed to save him. And I didn't want to let him go, and my sister was like, "You let him go, he's safe, safe." And all the kids, they started crying because I scared them.
And then how did you feel after that?
I felt bad. I felt worse.
You felt bad. You yelled at the kids. They felt
bad. And they didn't even, I tried to say sorry and try to buy him ice cream. They were scared to come with me.
What were you thinking in that moment?
I thought his life was in danger. And I said, this is my moment.
Trying to maybe be the hero for once. That's got to be hard for you.
Yeah.
Look inside section E right here and tell me, based on that story alone, where you think what's happening here, how you think some of this fits right even to that episode. You saw the kids with the cops and the robbers.
Well, I mean, I was connecting the dots, and I'm like, well, I wasn't able to save Doña Maria, especially with the gun.
Yeah, but looking at section E, what qualities do you think were expressed in that story? What played out in that story you just told me about the cops and the robbers?
Hypervigilance.
Hypervigilance. What else?
You think I could say like the reckless or self-destructive behavior, just because, I mean, I thought how I responded was reckless because it wasn't appropriate to what was really the situation was. I wasn't able to really assess things for something as innocent as it was.
I hear what you're saying, and I get your pattern of thinking, but I think that might be angry outbursts with no provocation, right? You were mad all of a sudden for no reason.
Yeah.
Reckless behavior is like, all of a sudden, you are driving to get your brakes fixed, but you're not wearing a seatbelt because it doesn't matter.
Well, that makes sense.
And self-destructive behavior is like, all of a sudden, you're using alcohol to cope to an excessive amount.
You know I don't drink or do none of that shit.
And because you're not sleeping, you're taking a bunch of sedatives, stuff that puts you in danger.
Gotcha.
That's reckless. This other stuff you were taking out on other people, but I see where you were going with that and how you recognize that you weren't thinking properly in that moment. You with me?
Yeah.
And then simple and easy. So how about you turn back to your graphic organizer?
Yeah.
And then we talked right in that moment, Rebecca, about using that story to find these characteristics. What do you think happens the most for you? Like in general, what negative reactions of these do you think you experience the most? So if I asked you to look at this list.
Oh, from E? I think what happens to me the most, what I've seen in this short period of time, the sleeping part, I am having problems with that. The hypervigilance stuff, that happened once to me so far. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I should have been more clear with you. Can you just put some of it down just so we can finish filling in the picture?
Yeah.
Maybe Maria's death causes me to, or because of what happened at the incident, I tend to. It is.
You know what? Can I just write it in later?
You can.
Can
you at least put the numbers down for me so that we have some sort of.
Yeah.
Rebecca, I know this is hard for you. You're doing a great job, and we're almost done. Are you feeling strong enough to keep going?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do we need to do?
Before I leave here, we're breathing.
We're breathing. All right.
Probably 5 times.
Okay.
Just so you know, I'm giving you the heads up.
Okay.
My mother, she keeps on.
Keep it on.
I'm telling you, but I'm gonna see if she comes with me the next time.
Okay. Well, let me tell you this. Since we're at a point, and you said to me, you know what, John, I really need I need to do this for homework. Like I need to do it at home. Let's turn this into homework. Let me talk to you a little bit about what I'd love for you to have done for the next session. Is that okay? The negative reactions. You're going to go back over this, and you're going to think about how that applies to you. Try to fill in some of the stuff that maybe you were feeling a little bit tough, rough, insecure about. And then answer me the question. Think about yourself in the bigger sense. Step outside yourself from that. Might give you a little relief, but what does PTSD look like for me? Look at this and think about the story that it's telling you. You've got these both sides. Think about the story that it's telling you, how you've identified these things. Go back and look at that picture and answer that question. What does it look like for me? Remember, you came in here, oh my God, John, I can't with all this folders in it. Am I crazy? And we said that PTSD is different for everybody.
Yeah.
So it's identify for me. Tell me what that looks like for you, okay? And then underneath that, it says, how would I how would others know that I may need some support? We're going to practice talking to mom.
Yes.
In our
Hopefully
next
she
session.
comes.
Yeah, if she comes, we can, you know what? Would it be okay if I called her tomorrow? Or give you some time to lead in? How would others know that I may need some support? What ways are you showing the world? You're stuck in this and you're having
like when I'm fidgeting and I'm sweating and stuff, those are things? Okay.
How would other people know to maybe do a quick check with you? Rebecca, are you feeling okay? Do you need to talk for a minute? Can I give you a hug? All of those things. And then down at the bottom here, you may have noticed that every time it seems like you're getting caught up in something, you're anxious, you're getting a little bit down, that we've done some breathing, we've done a couple of,
The breathing helps me.
So the grounding stuff, bringing you back to reality, bringing you back to the present moment, helping you understand you're alive, you're safe, and that things are okay. That you're not back at the store, that you're not at the scene where Maria was killed, and that you're not in fear for your life anymore. So, because PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, is different for everybody, you know what works for you. I can say for you, Maria passed, and in order for you to get better, you need to light a candle in her honor.
Yeah, because I tell you, sometimes I feel like I'm alive, but I feel like I died with her.
Yeah. We're going to talk a lot more about that. As a matter of fact, I'm writing that down. But grounding, to help you understand that you're here in the here and now. I can give you all of these suggestions, but I think it's best that you say it. Like imagine if I said, Rebecca, when you feel like that, take a bath, and you say, but John, I don't have a bathtub.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell me, and we'll build that in, okay?
So like a good example is, I love the breathing and the mirror.
Yeah. Give me as many examples as you can think of, whatever you think. Yeah. Mirror. I think that's a great idea.
Mirror, breathing. Okay, so I know like an example. Okay.
So Rebecca, you said you wanted to do some breathing.
Yes, at least 5.
I'm gonna ramp this up a little bit. I'm gonna challenge you just a little bit.
Okay.
Up till this time, look at you already ready. Up till this time, I've been leading these breathing exercises, but really they're for you.
Okay.
So they're for you to use when you're feeling stressed, and they're for you to use when you're feeling like you might need to avoid something for you to cope with, right? So why don't we try it with you leading it? I'll follow your lead. So you lead us to the breathing exercises. You determine it.
I'm going to make pretend you were flying the wall.
I'm going to make you...
Don't think I'm crazy, because I talk to myself.
Nope. So should I just follow along with what you're saying? Okay. All right. I'm ready. Whenever you're ready. Take it away, Rebecca.
Rebecca, you're going to be all right. Rebecca, you could do this. Put your hand on your chest. Feel your heartbeat. Put your hand on your belly. And just take a deep breath in. You're going to count from 5 down. And then 5 down. So, 5. I'm going through the nose for 4. Rebecca, you can do this. You're stronger than what you think. 3. 2. You're ready for the new world. Let's go. Back to 1. Be nice. Those are my
Rebecca, how do you
words.
feel right now?
Feel good.
You're so good to yourself just then. You were so good to yourself. I heard so many positive things. You were encouraging, you were supportive, you were gentle. You did absolutely wonderful. And I feel like you got such good knowledge and almost mastery of that breathing exercise. Tell Rebecca when you lead those sessions at home by yourself, it's important to fill that belly as much as possible and to remember that the breath is slow coming out of the mouth. You were doing it, but it's important to remind yourself. Do you think, too, maybe in this last minute we can chat, that maybe while you're doing these breathing exercises, you could try to talk to Mom and say, hey, I learned something new. Want to try it to me? Do you think she'd be open? Or?
I think I want to wait till the next session.
Okay.
But remember you were talking to me about music too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put some of my music that I like too.
Oh, I love to learn about music. Right? I love to learn about it. Oh, sounds like Mom's giving you a call.
She is.
And it sounds like our time must be almost up. So I'll see you next week, same time, same place.
Maybe with her.
Maybe with her.
Cross
but
my fingers.
How about I'm going to call you in 3 days, okay? And in 3 days, that way you'll have some time. We'll do a quick check.
Okay.
Okay, and I'll know what's happening for the
Thank
next
you
one.
so much.
You're welcome, Rebecca. Have a great week going forward. Remember to be good to yourself.
I will.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.